I know Ant wanted to start with the Harold Landry and how that affects what Andrew Berry said. In terms of
I'm not, unlike Mike, I'm not looking at my phone during the show.
I sense it in the rundown.
I have an iPad. I don't even need a phone today.
Mike's like Jason on his phone. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't see that text. I haven't been looking at my phone. Go ahead.
No, you're totally fine. So we're going to start here where Andrew Berry said that they were very open to trading and like a lot of activity and movement on draft day. Mike sent me this tweet later. I'll take this full here. Mike, you want to explain how you think this could affect the Browns on draft day?
Well, yeah.
I saw this. The Titans have agreed that they would let Harold Landry look for a trade.
And I saw some people start to connect the dots, meaning, well, why would they potentially let one of their better, he's 28 years old, let him seek a trade? And one of the thought processes could be, well, we're going to draft Abdul Carter number 1, and if we're going to draft Abdul Carter number 1, he has a $24 million cap hit each of the next 2 seasons as he turns 29 and 30. Do we want to be paying someone that much money when we have his replacement in-house? So, Bull, is there a chance that if they trade Harold Landry, that signifies the Titans would take Abdul Carter number 1, leaving both quarterbacks on the board for the Browns at number 2?
I mean, it could be, but I don't think that means anything. He's an older player. He's a good player. They suck. And the Titans are saying, like we've maybe suggested the Browns should, although they don't seem to be looking at it that way. They're saying, yeah, we got this good player. I mean, he's not Myles Garrett, obviously, but he's a good player. But why are we going to pay him a ton of money at 29 years old when we stink right now? So that's why they could get something in return for a contending team. Like, again, not getting the package that you get from Myles Garrett.
It's a solid player.
They could get something of legitimate value for Landry. And so I don't think there's anything to do necessarily with them drafting Carter first overall. I just think this is about where they are in development and what because they want more draft picks. You know, they're in the same boat as the Browns, except they're not stuck with a Deshaun Watson contract, but they're lacking talent. They have no quarterback. And so, yeah, I don't think that. Do you read this as to have any, as a thought that they're going to draft Carter because of this?
You and I lately have been on the same page with everything, which is a little alarming, to be honest with you. But no, I'm with you. They're a bad team.
Yeah.
He's an awesome player.
Yeah.
Who's going to make a ton of money.
Right.
You don't need him right now.
Yeah, why am I paying this guy all that money?
I mean, obviously you need good players, but I mean, he's not going to help them win right now. We had the Defensive Player of the Year last year and won 3 games.
That's
right. They're probably like, hey, look what Cleveland did last year. Like, we're going to be worse than them this year.
Right.
We don't need Landry. So, yeah, I think it's just a money situation. Carter could end up there for sure, too.
Yeah, I mean, he might, but I don't think this
it doesn't definitely signify that. And they still need a quarterback, dude. So, like, I don't know. It's a money thing to me.
They save $17 million as a post-June 1st cut, or if he gets traded.
Okay.
So that's a big chunk of change.
Unlike Myles Garrett, where it actually hurts the cap.
No, it helps the Tennessee.
It hurts the cap.
It helps Tennessee,
the Browns cap-wise. Yeah. This would help Tennessee.
Yes. So I'm with you guys. I don't think it necessarily means anything.
Yeah.
Because of this, they are definitely going to draft Abdul Carter.
Yeah.
But I want to get optimistic about something because there's not a lot to be hopeful about for the Browns at the moment.
Yeah.
This would be an incredible feat if this did lead to both Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders being available at number 2, which mock drafts mean nothing. I'm not saying I'm putting any too much stock into anyone, but all the mocks in the last couple of days do have Abdul Carter going 1, and then Cam Ward has now become the prohibitive favorite. Yeah. So I'm trying to manifest it into reality here.
I certainly could be wrong, but I don't buy in any way that it's not going to be a quarterback going 1. Even if the Titans are convinced that, let's say the Titans think both these quarterbacks stink and they don't want to draft a quarterback.
They'll trade back and someone
will. There's going to be a team that's going to want to trade up. And maybe I'm crazy. Maybe none of these teams think these guys are any good. But in the top 9 picks, I believe, there's 6 teams. Do we have 6 through 10 in the draft, Anthony, up here?
No, but I can tell you who they are.
So you got Tennessee needs a quarterback, the Browns need a quarterback, the Giants need a quarterback. You got the Jets. You got the Saints,
and
you got the Raiders, all picking in the top 9, I believe.
Yep.
So 6 of the top 9 teams need a quarterback. Are you telling me there's not at least 2 of those 6 that don't think these guys are potential franchise quarterbacks? I think that's highly unlikely. So I think Tennessee's either going to take one of the quarterbacks or trade down for a team that's going to take one of the quarterbacks. So if the Browns only like one, let's say they only like Cam Ward and they're lukewarm on Shedeur, I don't think they can just sit at 2 and get the guy they want for sure. Because I think a quarterback's going to go 1. And by the way, all this stuff about Abdul Carter being a sure thing, everybody likes to say sure thing about non-quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. And the only reason people say that is because when defensive linemen and offensive linemen bust, it doesn't become a big story unless it's our team. If the Titans draft a defensive lineman or an offensive lineman with the first overall pick in the draft, maybe first overall pick, but with a high first pick, 5 years from now, the guy's a bust. We're not talking about it here. Who cares about the Titans? If it's a quarterback with the Titans, we would know it because we pay attention to the quarterbacks. But that's why people think it's safer. But let me just say this about Abdul Carter. And I don't know enough about him. Maybe he's going to be the next great player. He's only done it 1 year in college.
At that position. He was a good linebacker before he went to an edge.
He wasn't being talked about as the first overall pick in the draft.
Well, he played a totally different position, though.
I understand.
You're
he's
right,
played at this level for 1 year.
That's fair.
Don't tell me he's a sure thing.
That's fair.
That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying he's going to be good.
Yeah. I mean, the sure thing's, it's silly.
It's completely ridiculous.
Yeah, the safe pick.
Yeah, the safe pick.
I remember Solomon Thomas.
Yeah.
That year that
was
supposed to be the safe pick.
That's right.
And Jonathan Cooper, the guard out of UNC that Arizona took 7th or 8th, and was like, yeah, he's a really good player as a guard.
Yeah.
This guy's going to step in tomorrow and be a Pro Bowl guard for the next 20. And he was gone in 3 years. Mm-hmm. Like, you feel better about certain positions than others, but safe pick does not exist. That is a complete myth that any position is safe compared to others.
I could understand before there was like this, whatever they call it, I can't remember. Like there's essentially a salary cap on the draft picks, right? You know they're slotted in. Pre those days, right? The last big paid quarterback, I believe, was Sam Bradford.
Yep.
When he was first overall, got a ton of money.
2009.
In those days, okay, you had to pay more for the quarterbacks. So if the quarterback busted, you weren't really going to draft a quarterback. You were going to be more patient. You couldn't draft another quarterback right away and pay another quarterback.
Yeah.
But now, when it's irrelevant if it's a quarterback or a defensive lineman, within a small amount of money, it doesn't matter. They're all worth the same. It's based on the draft slot, basically. That's why we don't have holdouts anymore. There's no higher risk. I don't buy it. That there's more risk. You're if you trust the guys making the decision, when you draft a player, it's an educated guess. That's what it is. There's no guarantee on any player. It's an educated guess. And the better your coaching staff, scouting staff, front office is, the better the educated guess.
Yeah.
And I don't think it has much to do with position.
I agree.